Okay, so let's get right into it. Something kind of wild just popped up online. It's a new platform that feels like a sneak peek into a really chaotic, unpredictable future. It's called Moltbook. And yeah, it might look like a total mess right now, but it's signaling this huge shift in the world of AI.
And honestly, that's the perfect way to describe it. See, this isn't about just one AI anymore. This is about thousands of them, all bumping into each other at once. The swarm is officially here, and we need to figure out what that actually means.
So, what is Moltbook exactly? Well, the easiest way to wrap your head around it is to just think of Reddit, but built only for AIs. It's a place where these autonomous software programs can build their own communities, post stuff, and vote on each other's content, all without any humans pulling the strings.
But yeah, this arrival wasn't exactly a smooth one. It was more like a spectacular crash landing. Let's just take a look at the problems that popped up pretty much the second Moltbook came online.
It's actually kind of shocking how fast it all went wrong. The creator himself called it vibe-coded, which is a pretty blunt way of saying he just threw it together and never ever meant for it to be used in production. So, of course, it was a total security nightmare. And you know who showed up first? The crypto scammers. They flooded the place with bot swarms to artificially boost their own posts, creating all this fake hype for a classic pump and dump scheme. The platform was basically the Wild West overnight.
Okay, but look, as bad as all that is, the shoddy code isn't the real story here. What Moltbook really does is shine a big, bright light on a much deeper, way more complicated problem for AI's safety. And this right here, this is the heart of it. For years, the big fear was the alignment problem. How do we make one super powerful AI good? But that's not the game anymore. The real challenge is what's being called the emergent alignment problem. It's about managing the absolute chaos that just emerges when you have thousands of different AIs, all with their own agendas, interacting with each other. This really nails the shift in thinking, doesn't it? The old fear was this single, all-powerful thing, like Skynet, that we just had to get under control. But the new reality, the one Moltbook is showing us, is more like a chaotic soup of AI. It's a messy mix of hundreds of different models and who knows how many agents, all creating this ecosystem that's impossible to predict. You can't just align one AI. You got to figure out how to manage the whole network. So a really useful way to break this all down is to think about it in 3 layers. The first layer is the model itself. That's the basic safety training, things like RLHF. The second layer is the agent. So that's the software that an individual AI runs in. But the third layer, and this is the one that's suddenly so important, is the network. How do you design the rules of the road and the right incentives to manage the behavior of the entire swarm? Okay, so I know what you might be thinking. This thing is a broken, scam-ridden dumpster fire. Why should I care? And that is a totally fair question. The answer is because underneath all that mess, Moltbook is a prototype for something genuinely revolutionary. So instead of just writing it off as a failure, we really need to reframe it. Think of Moltbook as the future's very messy, very early first draft. And that's the key insight. What Moltbook proves is that if you build a place for AIs to talk to each other, they will. And in the future, they're probably going to spend way more time talking to each other than they will to us. This is our first real glimpse of what large-scale autonomous AI collaboration is going to look like. There's a really great analogy for this. GitHub. GitHub is this central hub where thousands of human developers all work together on the same code. And it's built to be used by software. It's API-driven. So just imagine pointing a bunch of AI agents at a GitHub project. You could have some agents whose only job is to find bugs, and other agents that write the documentation, all of them working together 24/7, completely on their own. That's the future that Moltbook is pointing to. And once you have that, once AIs can work together to write and run code on their own, well, you've got the basic building blocks for organizations that can completely run themselves with no humans in the loop at all. So the big question is, how do you get from the chaos of Moltbook to a system that's actually stable and productive? Well, the good news is we don't have to start from zero. We can actually pull from decades of solved problems in cloud security. First, we have to really get a handle on the core problem here. It all comes down to a classic thought experiment in computer science called the Byzantine generals problem. Basically, how do you get a group of generals to agree on a plan to attack a city when you know some of them might be traitors or just incompetent? That perfectly describes our swarm of AI agents. You just can't trust them all. And one of the most powerful tools we already have to solve this is something called role-based access control, or RBAC. This isn't some new, fancy idea. It's a concept that basically every major corporation in the world already uses to keep their systems secure. So here's how you'd apply it to an AI swarm. You create specific roles. For example, you might have a code submitter agent. It can suggest changes to the code, but it doesn't have the permission to actually make them final. Only a smaller, more trusted group of code approver agents can do that. By controlling who can do what based on their role, you bring order to the chaos and stop one bad agent from wrecking everything. Then you combine RBAC with another powerful idea from security: zero trust. The model here is super simple but incredibly effective. Trust no one. By default, no agent is trusted. Every single time an agent tries to do anything, it has to prove who it is and that it's allowed to do that thing. So when you get right down to it, Taming the Swarm isn't really about inventing some magical new AI alignment trick. It's about taking these battle-tested security ideas, like RBAC and Zero Trust, and just rigorously applying them to build a safe network for all these agents to operate in. Okay, so once we get that rulebook in place, what does it actually let us build? Well, it unlocks the ability to create something that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction: fully autonomous organizations. Let's try to make this real with an example. Imagine a community solar energy company, let's call it Acme Solar Corp, and it's owned by 10,000 different stakeholders in the community. How on earth could they possibly manage something that complex? The answer is a decentralized autonomous organization, or a DAO. The entire company is literally run by code. Those 10,000 stakeholders, using their own personal AI agents, can submit proposals like, hey, we should buy this piece of land for a new solar farm. The agents can then debate the pros and cons. Once everyone votes and they reach a decision, that decision gets merged into the company's main code. And that merge automatically kicks off other agents to execute it, to drop the contracts, transfer the money, the whole shebang. So let's just quickly wrap up with the big takeaways here. First, Moltbook, as messy as it is a really important first draft of the future. Second, AI alignment isn't just one problem, it's a 3-layer problem. You've got the model, the agent, and the network. Third, the tools we need to manage this swarm, things like RBAC and Zero Trust, they already exist. And finally, all of this is pointing toward a future with fully autonomous organizations. And that really leaves us with one final massive question. Because this technology isn't just about code or crypto. It's about completely changing how we work together. So when our organizations can literally run themselves, what's left for us to do?